do know about Knowlton. But Knowlton will be 205 years old, February 5th, 2013. Thomas Jefferson was president. I've been at Knowlton for 29 years. I had the pleasure of coming up through the ranks and had the opportunity to purchase a facility with two other partners in 2008, tax day, 2008, imagine that. So then we went along real happy-go-lucky for 4 months and then crash. 2009 recession hit. And we had to realize at that time, we were heavily indebted, we need to change. And so the partners decided to take a slightly different direction than in the past. And so some of the reasons, though, for our continued growth is that Knowlton has evolved through these years into a technical supply house. We have older machines, not necessarily old in per date, but old in speed and width. And so we knew that we could not compete in the commodity market. And Eric had mentioned that. We knew we had to change into a technical company. I think maybe we were lucky more than technically attuned to that in many times. We were very lucky and fortunate. But we also had very good people. What we do today is we make composites and media. Our biggest product line is friction media that's used in heavy-duty construction, agriculture, and mining equipment for wet brakes. So our biggest customers are Caterpillar, John Deere, for example. Also heavily into automatic transmission clutches. We originally were a filter company. We used to make the oil lube, fast lube, realized we couldn't compete in that against the big H&Bs and the Ostroms and the Lydells. So we specialized into hydraulic and fuel filtration. So we're still heavily dependent on John Deere, Caterpillar, Komatsu, and all those. But we also are into, if your gas gets filtered, going into airplanes 6-8 times, it's probably Knowlton's product. We still do have some commodity though. There's always things that we always have to have, absorption of run hours. And so we do have some commodity products. I'm not going to say we don't. But we're looking to eventually either make them better or get out of them. So Bibulus is one field that we're more in the commodity side, and that is your car freshener Christmas trees. So we've been making that product since 1954 for the local plant in Watertown, New York, car freshener. And then we did get into specialty markets. And we have gone through some success, and then we seem to fall back. And then we go through success, we seem to fall back as far as a process of improvement. And I think we're getting better. We're getting our people to understand that. So we're into specialty markets, and our new market is glass valves. And we really are heavily pursuing the glass valve business. And glass valves could be everything that's used, for example, in a wrap of a suitcase, the inner wall of an airplane, the inner wall of a subway, the subway floor. So our theory is we need to make something that has multiple purposes. So it's lighter weight for a subway floor. It's stronger. It's flame retardant. So it's got multiple purposes. So when you're thinking of innovative ideas, it has to have multiple purposes. Like Eric said, it has to have a reason. It has to have someone who wants it. So in saying that, our real focus has been on the voice of the customer. And even though Eric said that that's not, he didn't say it wasn't important, but quality will make you, once you get it, keep it. On-time delivery is really critical. And Knowlton's biggest is intellectual property protection. 95% of our business goes to an NDA. 45% of our business goes overseas, and our technical knowledge and our ability to solve customer problems is probably our forte. We have multiple people coming to Knowlton to help. They have an idea, and they don't know how to get it to a final product. And so that's what we do. And one example I'll give you is the next generation of diesel oil filtration for tractor trailers, their oil filtration. Penske, UPS, FedEx spend a lot of money to filter their oil and change their oil on a regular basis. One of the innovative products that Knowlton worked with two Exxon engineers was to take an idea that was an Exxon patent since 1960s. No one did anything with it. And the two engineers brought it to us. We developed it into a wet lay product that is now out in the market, so that all these people have to change their oil. They can last twice as long. So it really hasn't taken off, but that's an example of problem solving that Knowlton does. Our pursuit of organic and inorganic growth to enhance our portfolio. We've always we had two big customers. They were over 20% of our business, and boy, did they put pressure on us and squeeze us. So our goal is to get everybody under that 20% and hopefully lower to broaden our portfolio. This will also be enhanced with the stuff that's I'm working with SciTech and Lean Six Sigma principles. And I'll talk a little bit about that journey as I move forward. Knowlton and SciTech relationship started with working with the local universities, Clarkson and RIT, and actually using some of their resources to potentially, we kind of got in a room and talked about what are the main pain points that Knowlton's going through. It was partly energy, environmental, various things like that. We did use some of their ideas. I will say that one of the things that I did like about SciTech is, at the end of the day, manufacturing and academia don't always line up on speed. Okay? And so I fed that back to them, saying, you know, I have to make my decisions 6 months ahead of time for capital investment. I need this stuff sooner if this is how it's going to work, for example. But I will tell you that some of the ideas that came from the universities or their assistants in actually gathering the data that was required so that I could make a decision was used to invest in some engineering capital. The next step was more in the energy side, and SciTech brought us together and helped us get some funding with National Grid, with NYSERDA, and we did various projects to help make our processes better, but also get energy savings. The last phase that we've been working with SciTech for is more on the lean side, and you heard that we talked about white belt and executive leadership training. Well, I'll tell you, I made a mistake. I sent people to white belt training, had them come back, and I heard the same thing that Eric said. I'm too busy, I can't get to it. What I figured out was, I wasn't supporting them all. I didn't know enough about it to support them. So I went and got trained. My other partner is getting trained as we speak now. And more on the executive side, I actually started down just in the white belt in the training. So we brought that to the organization. I had to show the organization that the partners were going to support this and make it happen. And I had to give them the resources to make that happen, or it was never going to happen. So we started that journey by initially starting out with just Kaizen events. And we actually started out with ideas that came from the floor and actually, helped solve some of the main problems that the people on the floor have. And Lean is really just about getting rid of waste. You add the Six Sigma in there, okay, now you're starting to get more into process control or process functionality. But Lean is really just getting rid of waste. And I will tell you that we are a union shop, and we got pretty good participation. It helps that you pay them to be there. But at the same time, we got really strong response back from that. And it's actually starting to grow hair and change the culture as we move forward. We've been doing 6S, Lean 6S, which is basically organization, housekeeping, procedure, maintaining. All right, so facility, if you don't know, it was built in the 1920s. The first facility burned, but it was built in the 1920s, so it wasn't really designed for today's setup to be really lean. But we've taken those principles and really have cleaned up the facility, and we still have a ways to go. But we have a schedule, and we call it 6S because we include safety. But that's how it started, so we attacked several problems with the Kaizen system. You end up looking at what your present state is, what your future state you want it to be, and then you have all these bursts that show up because, boy, you didn't think about that, so now there's a burst, there's something else we got to work on later because that's what we got led into. But it's been very successful in moving forward to get rid of waste. Because in a lot of the companies that make cogs, they can change their line around to make things better and perfect. It's very difficult to move a monument such as a paper machine. So you have to kind of work around that a little bit. Knowlton realized that in order to become more effective in growing the business both internally and externally, we needed to improve our problem solving. One of the biggest things that the partners recognized is that people didn't know how to solve problems. Very intelligent people, some strong engineers, but they were stuck. They didn't really know how to solve problems, at least effectively or consistently. So we're in the process now of trying to go, and we're going to be actually taking some training in A3 process. And A3 process uses a lot of the same principles that we learned a long time ago, fishbone diagrams, et cetera, but it's very more concise and on one piece of paper. And so one of the things that we did do is we just went and took classing on lean product development. Knowlton has 6 full-time people in R&D. Most of the time, though, they're working on organic things for our customers, not the inorganic new growth. But we are finally starting to add resources to try to get that way, to get a true person, because there's a difference between research and development. Okay? Because you can most time it's customer service you're taking care of, and that's just you need to maintain that development. But to do true research, you need additional resources. And you have to put those resources out there in order to take a chance that you're going to be successful with a new product. So KT is using SciTech to train and then help to execute these principles. Just about 2 weeks ago, a large portion of our staff went over off-site to start this lean training for product development. At first, I didn't go to the first day. I went to the second day, and I was a little skeptical. Not skeptical of the process. I was skeptical that they wanted all of my people over there, and I'm like, how the heck we're going to run the facility? No one's on the floor. And but I went over the second day, and I will say that I was enlightened on the process. Way more information than Knowlton can use, absolutely. At this stage, it was we're a relatively small company, so we have 130 employees, but the principles are the same. And as I sat there, I'm saying to myself, it doesn't just apply to new product development. It applies to all the processes that Knowlton does. And as Eric had mentioned, it's not just thinking of the new next thing. It's about how to fix your process to become more efficient and therefore more profitable, bottom line. And so it was a good event. It was a real lot of information. So now Knowlton is taking that information, is discussing that with SciTech. One of the things I do like about SciTech, besides them assisting us with the paperwork to help them taking corrective criticism coming back, is the fact that they're a very good group of knowledgeable people that are willing to come and help you accomplish your goals. So it's a real challenge, this lean process. We started it 2 years ago. From everything that I've read, it says it takes 10 years to even get good at it. So it's going to be quite a challenge, and that culture shift is really what it's about. And we're trying to make that happen. And you can't be afraid to continue to communicate that to your employees. And so one partner and myself have committed every 6 to 8 weeks we have a communication meeting with every person. So that means I have a meeting at 7, I have a meeting at 10, I have a meeting at 2, and I have a meeting at 10 p.m. And so we come back in and we discuss multiple things with our employees to try to draw the ideas, also start the rumor mill. But the most important thing is to tell them where we're going and what things are on the horizon so that they feel like they're involved. Because it's one thing to develop it, it's another thing you need their intelligence and their process ability to actually physically work on a machine. So in closing, just remember that success will always come with change. It takes upper management support to give this direction, provide education, approve the required resources, and communicate a constant message to shift the culture of your company. But one thing do not forget through this whole process is celebrate the wins.